Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the WIT podcast. I am your host, Sarah Hernholm, the founder of WIT Whatever It Takes. And we have a very special guest with us today. I'm just going to jump right into it. Sometimes I talk about WIT and I talk about what we do, but I don't even want to do that. You can watch other episodes or wait till the end to hear about our programs or check out doingwit.org. I want to jump right into our guest today. Tell them your name and where you live.
I'm Kennedy and I'm from New York City.
Okay. And how old are you?
I'm 17.
And what's the name of your business?
Black woman telling stories.
All right. So now we have so much to talk about with Kennedy today. I met Kennedy. Wait, how long has it been? I mean, 3 months, 4 months?
I think April. So
okay. It's interesting because I feel like I've known you longer, maybe because we're working so much together on your business. So for those that may not know, Kennedy is a member of WIT and she's one-on-one coaching with me. So I really have had a chance to get to know her personally and learn about her journey and support her on her journey. And she's taught me so much in the work that she's doing. I'm so proud of what she's created. Let's just talk a lot about, I think it's just a really important business. And I mean, it's not quite a business yet, meaning it's not making money yet. It definitely has potential for that if you want to get sponsors, or potentially if you had like meetups with these people that you're interviewing and people pay like a ticket to come see you interview them. But tell them right now, first, why you decided to create your business, your work.
I decided to create Black women telling stories because since I was younger, I've always had an interest in film and television, and I love acting. And so a lot of the times when I used to watch TV shows and movies, I used to think of what was on camera. But as I've grown up, I've learned that there's so many different things that goes into making everything we watch. And even though it's very important to have diversity on screen and to see Black women on my television, it's also like necessary to have diversity, like people doing the lighting and the makeup and who's doing the sound. And so I kind of wanted to learn more about those people and shine spotlight onto them. So I created Black Women Telling Stories to highlight the experiences of Black women who work in the film industry behind the camera, and to give them a platform where they can talk about their experience and how they came into this field, how they navigate this field, and also like what they want to get out of their career as well.
So you basically created that which you needed, which I'm obsessed with. I just love when people, I mean, for me, I created WIT. It's the thing I wish I had when I was a kid, a place where an adult took me seriously and was willing to truly go to bat for me. And that wasn't my parents.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel this relativeness to you, that of creating something that is true to you and on your heart, which also has an added layer of then things feel very heightened around what people, how it will be perceived and received, and because you feel connected to it. Do you feel that? Do you feel that feeling?
Yeah, I definitely feel like connected to it, even though it's still in the process of like kind of getting on its first legs. Like when I go through my followers and I just see like all these like Black faces like following me, I like feel like proud of what I've done and like who's like listening in and who's like learning from the platform. And yeah, it just makes me very happy to see.
Yeah. I mean, so there's two things that come up when I hear you say that, how fun that is to see that you've grown it. I mean, I don't know how many followers you have. I don't think we've talked about that. I feel like, what are you, almost to 100 maybe? I don't know. You would know.
Yeah, I think it's around 70 at the
Okay.
moment.
And you're a few months in, and we'll jump into her business model in a minute, but she'll tell you openly about it. Like she hasn't been like super active on her social media, doing the reels and doing all those things. Maybe that will come, but that's really a big thing at WIT, is figuring out the pace you want to go at and what you really are interested in doing. And so we'll jump into that in a little bit. But you know what I was thinking, Kennedy, when you were saying that you were so happy to see all those Black faces in your followers, I'd also like to see more white faces in your followers. I would like to see, like, that's a big thing for me when people are creating programs around showcasing a specific demographic, that you actually want the other demographics paying attention to it.
Yeah.
I think that would be, I mean, just to understand that, like, because sometimes there's all these like misconceptions, which are truly misconceptions, and I'll even say ignorance around, I mean, gosh, years ago, not that long ago, it was that like women couldn't be directors. Like that wasn't even like, people were like, a woman directing a war film. Like, no way. Is that your phone? It's
Oh my
okay.
God, I'm so
It's
sorry.
okay.
My
It's
mom is
okay.
calling
It
me.
happens. We don't worry. We don't edit it out. I mean, we
Okay.
edit it out on the Spotify, but we don't edit out on the YouTube because that's life. But is the ringer off now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So, it wasn't that long ago that people didn't even think that women could be directors for certain types of films. So that, and let alone Black women being directors for things. So it's really important that people start from all demographics paying attention to those that are not usually like you doing exactly what you're doing. You're shining the light on people in an industry that don't usually get the light shined on them,
Yeah.
and showing that it's possible. I mean, it's when you can see it, I think it's more common. It's really helpful for people to see someone who looks like them, sounds like them, doing something
Yeah.
that they want to do. Or if it's somebody who's doing something who comes from the same type of neighborhood or background that you come from, all that's very helpful. It makes it feel like it's possible for you. So it
Yeah.
would be interesting to see how many people we'll figure this out with your business, but you are making an impact, and it'd be really interesting to see what your followers have learned because
Yeah.
of what you've created. So let's talk about, kind of go back to the beginning, because it's I'm going to call it a business. Eventually it's going to be a business. So we'll just use that language for this podcast. It's so brand new. I mean,
Yeah.
it's maybe 3 months old. And tell us what you've done so far with it.
So far I've interviewed two people. I've interviewed a casting director and a set designer. And for the next interview, I'm going to talk to someone who works in makeup for shows like The Real Housewives. And as of right now, I'm kind of like starting putting everything together with my social media, and also creating like a link tree and a website and kind of like other places where people can learn more like outside of the interviews. And yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's so fun to have been part of this journey with her. And just like the first email that you sent out, let's go back to like composing the first email to
Oh,
try to get
yeah.
you to try to get your first interview.
Yeah.
Okay. How did that feel when you got your first yes?
I was very, very nervous because I remember I reached out to three people, and at first I don't think anyone responded. And so I was like, oh, this is gonna be very interesting. But once I got that first yes, and I understood that I actually had to like do it, because at four it was kind of
Yeah.
an idea, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do all this, I'm gonna do this, this. And then when I got the first email, I was like, okay, so now I actually have to write questions and interview with them and meet with them. And I was so, so nervous. And then when it came time for the actual interview, that like I stressed myself out about like all week, I forgot to record like the first 20 minutes. And then like I was freaking out. And so that was such an important lesson to me. I couldn't even believe that happened. And so that taught me to just like always like just like calm down a little bit, because like I thought I had like everything under control, and to like I really have to like focus on like what I want to do, and just making sure I'm prepared, and making sure that yeah. So
Did you start setting an alarm? I can't remember if we talked about setting alarms for or reminders on your phone or writing it down or something, because you were like, I just never want to do that again. And it's so,
yeah.
and then you have to hit record in the middle of the interview, right? And you had to
Yeah.
tell her. Oh my God.
Yeah, I had to I had to explain to her, and like thank goodness like she was very understanding and just reiterated what she had said before. But I also like have the audio recording, but I like it's very important to like see the actual interview
Mhm.
rather than to hear it if it's like Black women behind the screen, like giving them a platform like
Mhm.
on camera rather than hearing their voice. And so I uploaded what I had, and I'm still very proud of the interview and what was said during the duration of our talk, but that was a very important lesson to me. And so that like making that interview and looking back at it was also a lesson in how I wanted to move forward in the next interview, and just seeing how I edited that, and I changed like way I edited the next interview and kind of how I approached talking in the interview. Cause like when I looked back as well, I saw my facial expressions and like sometimes in the moment you don't even realize what you're doing. And so I feel like
True.
as I continue, like every interview will continue to be a lesson to me and how
Mhm.
I want to do better the next time. And at the end of the day, like I always want to think about why I'm doing this. And that's definitely the most important part.
Yeah, it's so real to I love that first of all that you just like honestly admitted that glitch with the recording because it's
Yeah.
just we've all have a version of that and but
Yeah.
not many people want to share them because they think it's a reflection on them personally. And yeah, in some ways it is, but in other ways it's like it helps us all do better and learn when we say like,
Yeah,
okay, this
definitely.
happened to me and this is how I saved it and I survived it and I still did
Yeah.
it another one. I do remember getting that message on Slack and just, and,
Yeah.
you know, and just thinking like, oh, but you kept with it.
Yeah.
So I will say as somebody who's been coaching her, so she like kept with it and then she booked another one and they were going. And then there was a little bit of like a slump. There was a little
Yeah.
bit, I don't even want to say slump because that infers something negative. And I'm pretty, and I think you would say, I mean, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but I feel like one of my qualities is that I, um, I don't like to force things. I will really encourage a kid. I will really encourage a teen to do something. And I'll say like, don't sabotage yourself. Like you really want this thing, like book that interview, do that thing, like message me in 5 minutes after you've done it. But
Yeah.
if you're having like a second thought about your business or your business model, or if you're so passionate about it, I think it's so important to hold space for that and to allow for that. But I feel like you did have a moment where you're like, I don't know what I want to do, but I don't know if that was connected to school stuff or just like losing some enthusiasm. But if you want to talk about it, I think that would be helpful to people because it can happen when you're launching doing something and you're being an entrepreneur. It's not always like this like high of just going.
Mhm. I definitely hit my slump around May, I would say. After the first interview, I held another one. And even though well, even though I had a full recording, I didn't edit it for a while. And one of the reasons I was very hesitant to edit is because I really was nervous. And I think like putting myself out there on YouTube and like spreading awareness about what I'm doing and like posting was something that like really stressed me out at first because I was, in all honesty, I was like kind of embarrassed about like the what happened during the first one. So editing the second one was something that I was very hesitant about. And then also like schoolwork was like ramping up. And so then I was like, I'll prioritize schoolwork and like I'll get to that. Like I
Hmm.
definitely pushed it away because I was very nervous and I didn't really want to think about it. And then once I edited the second video and I finally posted it, I was like, oh, like that was actually kind of fun. And I definitely, and I would say my favorite part, besides actually interviewing people, is the social media part of it.
Hmm.
And I definitely enjoy um, posting clips that I like from the interview and posting about the person and what they do and like having a special section of them. And I definitely want to do more of that because I feel like it's more interactive for people because I think on
Hmm.
YouTube it's kind of people watch it, but I love how on Instagram people can kind of interact with it and like stories and like comment and like DM. And so yeah, I definitely like that part.
That's so honest. And so, I mean, everybody that's watching, listening, if you're willing, I mean, it's a sign of Kennedy's emotional intelligence that she's able to do this because it's part of being emotionally intelligent is having self-awareness. And I really wouldn't even be surprised if, you almost like use the homework as like, well, I have all this homework. So I mean, of
Yeah.
course I can't really edit.
Yeah.
And then whenever I catch myself, because we all have versions of that. I mean, I have like, oh, I mean, I have to do this like community thing that I'm doing or whatever. But it's like, or you are just avoiding this task because, and then I'll try to have a conversation with myself around what are you afraid of? What will happen when it is successful? What will happen if it's not? What's
Yeah.
the fear? And I'll do this in my head. And a lot of times it is a fear of being judged or maybe even on a base level, like being made fun of or being told that like what I did wasn't good enough. Okay. So then like, and I'll let myself feel that and go, okay, like, and the truth is that has happened. I have put myself out there and I have received negative comments. So I'll never tell a teen that that's not possible. I
Mhm.
mean, that'd be such a lie. Of course anything's possible when you put your heart out there, or you put your work out there. And I say heart because when you're people like us who have chosen to do businesses that are very connected to things that matter to our heart, those things can feel even more heightened.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
if I were to say to you, oh, hey, Kennedy, I just need you to like make a Instagram post for a Thanksgiving canned food drive that you'd be like, okay, it's not, because it's like, yeah, that's like you're doing something nice for somebody, but it's not connected to you. And if somebody
Yeah.
doesn't bring you a can, it's not like they hate you.
Yeah.
Right? I don't
Yeah.
know if that's like the best example, but it's like when things feel so connected to you personally, the the outcomes seem more like more pressure.
Mhm.
And I love, love, love that I think it's a sign of just strength. And like I said, emotional intelligence. And I think it is good when you have a coach, because that's why I always
Yeah.
advocate for either like having a coach or a community. Is like, I mean, how many times can Kennedy message me or avoid my message? She's going to have to tell me. And I'm like, hello. Like
Yeah, definitely.
eventually,
Mhm.
eventually she's going to have to answer. So she might as well go and do it. But
Yeah.
then she goes and does it. And then she builds more confidence in herself, because when you follow through on your own word and you keep your word to yourself, that
Mhm.
you build more confidence. So I feel like your confidence keeps increasing every time you do something. I don't know. Do you feel like your confidence has increased during this time?
I definitely would say so. I have a personal Instagram and I've never ever posted on it. Like my profile picture was black and I just didn't really want to show my face. And so I would say doing these interviews has like allowed me to kind of be more present, like be more proud of who I am and kind of like show myself off more. And so this is a very, very small step, but I was very proud that I did this. And I added like a picture of myself to my Instagram and just stuff like that. Like being able to see myself in a different way is something that I'm
Mhm.
also proud of. And then, yeah, also, I feel like something that I'm also very happy of with doing this is throughout like every year that I've done school, I've kind of felt like stuff that I'm interested in, it's hard to like kind of keep going when you have like teachers, like people around you that are very discouraging. Even when it's something that you love, you can kind of like lose that passion when you feel like no one sees anything in you. And so I feel like one of the reasons I got out of the slump is because like the messages and like weren't diminishing and like if you don't do this, like watch your back or like something crazy like that. They were just like really encouraging, like, you should do this because it'll help you and like it'll be beneficial. And so then that was like definitely a motivator and definitely something that like I needed because in all honesty, if I wouldn't have gotten that, there probably would have been one video up there, one video, like a half a video up there. So that's something that I really appreciate as well, and that I'm like proud of like talking to you too.
Mhm. I mean, it's my joy to encourage you. I see so much good in you and so much in intelligence and creativity and potential to really make an impact with this. But we have that wit tip, can't want it more than you. And so I can want that so much for you and see it so clearly that you can really make an impact in your community, in your world with this. But I can't want it more than you want to, because you have
Yeah.
to actually go and do it. But encouraging you is easy. And any teacher that's like uses like threatening language. I think I did that when I was a teacher with grades, where I would say things like, hey, like if you don't turn it in, like it's a zero. But I don't do any grading anymore, because all my coaching is not graded, because I hate that being a motivator,
Mhm.
like that threatening language,
Yeah.
or you're going to lose 10 points. It's like, it's so annoying. I got to keep track of the 10 points. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to keep.
Yeah.
So I'd rather encourage you with like, you doing this will impact either the person that you're interviewing, because how good does it feel to them to be like, oh my gosh, this girl wants to learn about me. That's so sweet.
Yeah.
And then the girl who watches it and goes, oh my gosh, two things. They're inspired by you and go, wow, like she's like my age and she's launched this thing. And then
Yeah.
they see this makeup artist and they go, wow, that's a career I never even thought that was open for me to do that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good that comes from you taking the steps and getting outside your comfort zone. And I think it might be helpful for you to remember something. It's similar to what I have to remember sometimes when I think, because this happened today, Kennedy, it happens. It's just, I've hesitated doing something. I'll just put it out there. I'm not going to like keep it a secret. I've hesitated launching my birthday fundraiser. Every year I fundraise for WIT on my birthday because I feel like I'm very blessed in my life. And so if someone wants to get me a gift, I'd rather them just donate to WIT.
Yeah.
But my birthday's in like 2 days. I think it's 2 days. And I've hesitated doing it. And I'm like, why am I hesitating? I'm like, because I feel like so bad. Like there's so many things going on in the world. Like I don't want to make people feel pressure to donate. And then I tell myself, Sarah, but what if you doing this fundraiser makes it possible for one more kid to participate in WIT, to receive a scholarship to participate in WIT. And then they go off and they, they feel a greater sense of self-confidence and self-worth and they launch something. Isn't it worth getting uncomfortable? And isn't it worth somebody behind your back being like, oh my God, like, why would I donate to Sarah's thing? Fine. Let them think that, but I'm so much older than you and been in this business so much longer. And it's so normal to have these feelings of like, oh, like, but maybe I shouldn't, or this is like lame, or I've only done 2 interviews. Like, what is this even going to be?
Yeah. Totally.
I'm so proud of you. Let's talk about the shift. When you remember when you wanted to, when I was okay, what's going on? Like, I can feel the energy. Like, let's get you back on track. Then you get back on track, but then you really wanted to get into the website.
Yeah.
Which at first, in full transparency, viewer and listener, I'm like, is this an avoidance? I really did. I was like, is this going to be like an avoidance thing for her, like not doing interviews because she's going to go over here and build this website? I was like, let's see, like, let's do it. But let's talk about why you wanted to do that and what that's been like for you, having that now to grow and to work on.
I feel like I really wanted to make a website because I kind of wanted to have a database almost of everything, like kind of why I'm doing this and what I've learned. And I think a website is like the perfect combination of everything I love about YouTube and everything I love about Instagram. And I think a website is more like informational, which is kind of something that I wanted to have as well. And also for people to like email like Black women telling stories directly. And also I really enjoyed the design aspect of it. And so that was something that I really looked forward to as well.
Yeah. And I will say, this is a case of me really not knowing if this was for her, because we all do things that are like avoidance of like doing the thing that we really need to be doing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know. And I would say Kennedy, in this case, Kennedy, I don't think I had an opinion either way. I was more just like waiting to see what it was.
Yeah.
But it would, if anything, it'd be like that you proved me wrong, that you actually really were wanting to have this space built for the work that you were doing and that you really enjoyed the design part of it. And that in the creating a website for your business was a chance for you to also to develop your own creativity and your own web design skills.
Yeah.
And it was kind of fun because she created a version of the website. Then she shared it with me. And then I had some feedback on it. And then I always ask my teens, I'm like, are you open to feedback? Do you want she know, I'm like, do you want my help? Do you know? Cause I don't, cause then I get so excited when they want my help. I'm like, let's go. Okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
And I think it looks really cool. What do you think?
I think it looks good. Yeah.
Have you added the second one on there?
The second one?
Second interview.
On the link tree? Oh, yeah. I haven't added the second one yet.
You have or you haven't on the website?
Oh, I haven't. Not on.
Okay, yeah, let's get that on there.
Yeah.
If you need help with it, let me know.
Okay.
I think it looks really good. And I also think to the people that are watching or listening that her choice to build it and do it also has added more credibility to her project, to her business. So when she's out there asking people to interview, she's able to include her website link and they're able to go on it and it's like, oh, this is actually somebody who's taking this seriously and has a place to actually house the material. And oh, look at, there's a YouTube channel and there's an Instagram. So she really, I really give Kennedy credit that it was like, oh yeah, that actually would, I didn't know if it would add a layer of credibility to it because I just wasn't sure. I mean, sometimes kids build these websites and then they just like sit there and there's like nothing to do with them. But I think adding the videos and having them all in one place and the design of it's really cool. And I like how you've even done some, I'm going to pull it up on my phone because you've even done some even rebranding of your Instagram. And every time I go on it, I like it. Like you're doing some new stuff on it. Talk to me about how you decided to make that change and why you made those changes.
Um, I
I'm
remember
looking it
I
up.
kind of wanted to have like a consistent theme throughout the Instagram and the YouTube. And the theme was kind of having like the black and the pink, which are two
Mhm.
of my favorite colors. And so I was like trying to make that consistent throughout all of them. And I kind of changed the way that the highlights were did. And then I also changed the thumbnails of the YouTube. And yeah.
Oh, you changed the thumbnails. I'll have to look that up. I like these. This is a new highlight. Important.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you were doing okay. Yeah. I'm like, what did you do? And I'm like, oh yeah, now I see it. The links VIP. I love that her VIP icon on her. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see it. It's an Oscar, isn't it?
Yeah.
But pink. That's great.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's fun because I actually really love seeing people's just design choices, and oh, you added the press and your link tree.
Oh
Good,
yeah.
good, good. Let's spend some time on that. Let's talk about your first piece of press, which happened to be a television show.
Yeah.
So what was that like for you to have your first TV interview?
I was very nervous, but I had a very good time. Um it was very nice to just like share what I did and also like speak to someone and to like have it on YouTube and kind of see my growth like from before the first interview and kind of like uh raising awareness about I'm going to be releasing this video on this day.
Oh, yeah. Oh wait, that's a really funny story.
Yeah, that was very interesting too.
Oh wait, let's pause for that because that's actually really funny. Friends, if you can't have like a lighthearted energy around entrepreneurship, it's going to be a disaster. Like you have to have some, I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, you're built different for sure. And we have a tendency to like overthink things and take things really seriously. But levity is so important. And so when I'm laughing on these interviews with my teens, it's because we have to laugh at things because what am I going to do? Like get mad at a kid? Like this is something so stupid. So Kenny, you went on the story, like you went on the interview and the
Yeah.
host asks you when you're releasing your first video
Yeah.
interview and says the date. Then at WIT, her TV interview comes out. And then we're like, okay, we're going to blast it out we've got a really big newsletter list. So we're going to send it out to everybody, And then we got some emails and people were like, where do you find the interview? Like, where's the
Yeah.
interview? Like, isn't it released? And then I don't know if it was in a call or in a text, and I was like, so have you released it? And she's like, no. I'm like, okay, so we need to get that out there
Yeah.
because you said that. Now the world didn't fall apart. She's not canceled. People weren't mad, but it's just like one of those like things where you're like, oh my God, we said we were going to have that out and it didn't get out, but lots of lessons from that. What tip would you have for somebody who is going on their first TV interview? What were some things that you would want them to know to prepare?
Um, I would say kind of have questions that you think that you're going to be asked and kind of know what your goal is and what you want to be shared. I think that's definitely the most important thing, the message that you want to send through, and also how you want to present yourself. And so I know I was really nervous about like how I looked and where I was doing the interview, which like I definitely spent more time on than like the preparation. But I think knowing what you want to say and how you want to say it is more important than well, the other how you look is very important too, but I would say like knowing what you want to say is the most important part of your interview, and I think that's the best way to prepare.
Yeah, I think that's there's a lot of great tips in there. So let's break them down for the listener and the viewer so they can think about them when they're having their first TV interview. One, it's 100% normal and you should care what you look like.
Yeah.
Anybody who's acting like, I don't care, like it does, like, I'm not, that's okay. I'm like, no, you should care what you look like
Yeah.
because you're not going to want to share the content when you get the recording back if you don't like how you look. It's just
Yeah.
not when people want to do that.
Mhm.
You also want to pay attention to the lighting and the surroundings, because if you're not well lit, this happened to one of my teens recently. He was on an interview and he just didn't light himself that well. So it didn't work out that, it was a great interview, but he wasn't well lit. And honestly, that's distracting to the viewer because they wanted to see you and they want you to be in their, like in their face and get them, and they want to hear from you. So he's actually coming on the podcast this week. And we talked, I'm like, and we're going to practice him getting like his setup at his house because that it matters.
Mhm.
So your setup and what you look like and how, that you feel confident in what you look like is what matters.
Definitely.
Preparing, like you said, preparing for the questions, but it sounds like what you said, that's, which is a really great tip. And even more important is, what do you actually hope that, what outcome do you want from this?
Yeah.
Because then that will help you stay on topic. So if, let's say, like in your case, the topic was to get the word out about your launch, but
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
then you got to execute that launch. But then everything, she can keep coming back to that. Or I want to make sure that the why of what I'm doing, it comes across. So how do I want to say that? And what would be very important for me to let this person know so that everybody out there that watches understands why I created this or what day my event is. And then, yeah, I think those are that's what I'm hearing you say. Is there anything else that I'm missing? I think it's nice for our listener and viewer to kind of get things chunked up for them in terms of listed out. Anything else?
I think you hit all the points. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about how you handle setbacks.
Um,
What's a tip to an entrepreneur out there who might be in a slump? Maybe who doesn't, have a coach. I'm coaching, that my job is to coach you and keep you going.
yeah.
But let's say somebody doesn't have a coach. What do you think would be helpful for them to remember?
I think this kind of relates to what you were saying earlier, and also about the American Trends interview. That something that makes me want to do this, like even in the future, like as long as I can, is like why, like the why, like why am I doing this? And the reason I'm doing this is because I wanted to touch the hearts of young Black girls, and I want them to see people that look like them in careers that they don't even have to hear about, that they've never heard about before, and get inspired to do different things, try different things, and they have people to look up to. They have like a list of resources of Black women who work in these different careers. And so I think that's definitely the reason for people to stay on track is like, what do you want out of this? How do you want people to learn from this?
Yeah, if you stay clear on your why, and the why can change. It can, for everybody, your why can change. I don't think my why has changed too much over the decade that I've done this work. Maybe the age has changed. So when I started, it was elementary school focused, and then it was K through 12. So it's a lot of ages. And then I went to just focus solely on teenagers. And then I brought in the tweens. Because friends, girls are brutal at the teenage years. I think something I noticed, like middle school is like not always the happiest place for people. And I was just like, oh, okay, so we're going to help them in middle school before they get into high school and get them some purpose and some focus. Because I know that sounds like a broad statement, but it's just been my experience that girls have struggle in middle school. So I went to that demographic. And so now my why is making sure that this demographic feels loved, valued, and heard through the vehicle of entrepreneurship. So if they can learn about themselves, learn that they matter in the world, learn that they have this like that they can develop their inner confidence and their self-awareness and self-love while launching a business that makes a difference, then I'm willing to get uncomfortable, put out the birthday fundraiser, ask that reporter one more time, even though I've asked them 20 times for the interview. I'll do all that because the why is bigger than that moment of like, oh God, like, what are they going to think?
Yeah.
So it sounds like that's kind of what you're saying. If everybody can kind of figure out what their why is, and your why might even change as you mature.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I'm even thinking, Kenny, that could happen, that you could be interviewing one of these women and you get inspired to create like another aspect of the work because of what they're saying. And I think it's so cool that you're actually creating your own network of mentors.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if you it's not selfish. It's actually really smart. It's like, I'm going to go out there and start meeting people that I can learn from,
Yeah.
and then bring them value by creating a really beautiful platform, a really, like serious, it's business, it's a professional platform. You care about it. You want everyone to look good. I went when you were telling me that you did your YouTube, I just went and looked at your thumbnail. I love the new thumbnails.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I love them. Don't you just like love to look at your stuff and be like, oh my gosh, it looks so good?
Yeah, that took
Yes,
me a very long time, but I'm very proud of what I
it
came up
looks
with.
so good. I'm putting this on the screen for our YouTube watchers because, oh, this was fun when we created this, that banner on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if like fun is the right word. It was a little challenging to get
It
the
definitely.
sizing right on that. But then I look at it and I'm like, oh, it looks so good, Kennedy.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, okay. Now let's chat a little bit about what you're doing when you're not running Black Women Telling Stories. Because a big part of our podcast is also finding it's for our fellow teen entrepreneurs to feel connections and community with people, not just based on what they do for their business, but what they like to do in life.
Yeah.
And you're more than your business as an entrepreneur, even though it's a lot of what you do.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what you're doing when you're not running your business.
Um, One of the reasons that I wanted to start Black Women Telling Stories is because I love every aspect of the arts. And that is something that I have loved throughout my entire life and something that I want to do forever and ever. And so I love taking acting classes and I love dancing and I love architecture and I love just designing. And even though I'm very, very bad at it, I also really enjoy singing as well.
You say you're bad at singing.
Yes.
Do you really think you're bad at it, or you're just saying that?
Literally every time I sing, my friends are like, please, for the love of God. But it's so much fun. I love singing. I love doing karaoke by myself.
Okay, I just like love you even more for that. They're like, Kennedy, please stop. And you're like, did you say keep going? Did you say you wanted one more? Because like,
That's what I say too.
you're like, okay, I got another one. I got another one. Well, if it brings you joy, then do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what are you going to be doing around the city this summer?
This summer I'm going to drama camp for all of July, and that's basically what I'm doing all summer.
Where? Which one?
It's this summer session at Yale, and it's for like a month, which is really exciting.
Wait, I'm not going to be able to talk to you for the month of July.
Well, I'll have like my phone and stuff, and I'm like I'll still be working on it.
Do you think so? Or do you think, like, as one of my other teens that I work with, she's got a vacation. And I said, absolutely not. We're not working on it. Like, you got to go use your brain and get different energies. So maybe you don't work on it for July.
Yeah, the reason I think I wanted to work on it in July is because I'm going to drama camp, so I thought it would be like kind of
Mm.
interesting. Like I feel like I would be more driven to work on it in July.
You know what you could do is you could get some interviews there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Come on, let's schedule some interviews with some of the teachers, some of the
Yeah.
guest speakers. Okay, now, now I know what's happened. Now I'm getting in that excited mode where now I just want to tell everybody, like, I got to sign off on this podcast. I got to go help Kennedy on this. Because now it's like TikTok. It's June 26th.
Yeah.
We got to when's your next interview?
The week after next week.
Oh, so you're doing it while you're at camp?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because I just was thinking, like, is there anything that we have to do to make sure everything's done before you go to camp that you can start having it? But it sounds like you sound like you're totally okay with working on it while you're there.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, and then when do you get back?
I get back August 6th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be in the city August 1st through 6th, maybe 8th. I'm not sure
Okay.
yet. But if I'm there, because I was going to like surprise you. No, I'm not. Now we have to plan it because you're just going to be coming home. So we'll figure it out. But if it's because I've been working with Kennedy for these months, but we've never met in person. And it's so special when I can finally meet the teens that I work with in person, because I just feel like we know each other so well. And but it feels so weird that we've never, never given her a hug. I'm like, just like, hey, through the screen.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so happy that you're taking that camp. That sounds fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Do you have like a person that you can't wait to interview that is a dream guest?
I would say probably Shonda Rhimes, just because I would like her IMDb is just like so impressive, and all the projects that she's created are so different, and they're all so good.
Mhm.
And I kind of want to because I remember someone came to my school and they talked about being an actress and working for Shonda Rhimes, and how she is so passionate about what she did, and the reasons that they were so invested in acting is because they worked under Shonda and her leadership. And so if I had a chance to interview her, I think that would be like I made it, just being so proud of myself.
Okay, so why don't you take a moment and look in the camera and ask her to come on your show?
Shonda Rhimes, do you mind being interviewed by me and being on Black Women Telling Stories?
Okay, I put her on the spot there, so I appreciate why she was a little bit like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. But we'll include this in the podcast, and then she will share this, and we'll get it to Shonda so she can see it. But I appreciate why you would be inspired by her and what she's done,
Yeah.
you know, in the field of entertainment. I mean, it's phenomenal what she's done, and the quality of production and story that she puts out there it's so good.
Yeah.
I always think of her Shonda and like her logo with the at the end of every show, and I'm like, that's no wonder it was good, because she's behind this. Okay. Any shows that you're watching right now?
At the moment, I recently watched the part one of the 4th season of Stranger Things.
Oh yeah, what do you think of it?
I thought it was very good, and just I was up last night thinking about one of the scenes, wow, they really they really did that. It was so impressive.
Okay, I haven't started. I've watched all the other seasons. I haven't started the new one.
Oh my god. I don't really remember the old ones, to be honest, but I think this one is probably the best one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I started watching because one of my other teens recommended it. The summer I turned pretty or something is I think it's on Hulu. It's a little tough for me to watch it because it feels I can get maybe a teenager might like it.
Yeah.
Little coming of age. I gave it, I think I gave it one episode. We'll see. We'll see if I finish it. But okay, maybe I'll check out the Stranger Things. Yeah. All right, everybody. We would love to hear what your takeaways are from this episode with our friend Kennedy, founder of Black Women Telling Stories. She's shared so much from the heart. So thank you for that, Kennedy. You did not leave out the hard parts. And I'm grateful for that, because you sharing that and you showing that you came through it, or acknowledging that you were struggling and then you still showed up, is so important for our young entrepreneurs that listen to the show. So thank you for being a role model for them and showing them the real behind the scenes of being an entrepreneur. If you enjoyed this episode, we would love to have you like it, share it, subscribe to our YouTube channel, share this episode on your Instagram stories with the link, and so that people can listen or watch, and comment with your takeaways. And really what we would love for you to do is to support Kennedy on her journey with this project, Black Women Telling Stories. So please follow her on Instagram. I'm going to pull it up for you. It is all spelled out, Black Woman Telling Stories. And I'm just so proud of you, Kennedy. I'm even just looking, I guess, because I just know where we started.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're just getting started. I mean, imagine you've done this much in a short period of time. You have a YouTube channel. You've already done 2 interviews. You've already been on TV. I mean, it's pretty impressive that all that you've done in a short period of time.
Yeah, thank you. Oh,
Any
thank
final words that you have for the teen that's listening? Any encouraging thing that you want to say to them?
um like always believe in yourself. I'd say always believe in yourself and do what you want to do, not what other people are telling you what to do, and just act on your instinct. And because like you only have one life, so just sorry to like make this like kind of bigger, but just like follow your dreams and yeah, and try to do what you really want to do. And I just really want to say thank you for having me. I had a really good time, and thank you for making me feel comfortable and listening to what I had to say. I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you. And I'm so happy that I get to work with you.
Oh,
All right,
same.
everybody, go do WIT.